Thank you for attending this webinar workshop titled Step-by-Step Guide to Personal Branding. In today's job market, employers are looking for applicants who stand out, have a unique skill set, and are tech, social media savvy. So, just how can you be all this and more and in today's competitive job market? First, figure out what you want to do and how you want to be perceived. Next, figure out the specific skills and attributes that you have to offer employers. And finally, show employers your value by building a strong personal brand, continuing your education, and by sharing your valuable perspective. During this workshop, we will discuss information and tips on personal branding for job seekers and how to use your personal brand to become a more valuable job candidate. When we talk about personal branding, we are referring to establishing and promoting what you stand for. Your personal brand is the unique combination of skills and experiences that make you, well, you. Effective personal branding will differentiate you from other professionals in your field, but a brand can be anything. We're used to thinking about brands in relationship to companies and products. Think Nike or Pepsi. But nowadays, anything can be a brand. Even as an individual, you have a personal brand. So, what is your personal brand, and how does it affect giving off the right impression on people who look you up online? The idea of personal branding makes some people uncomfortable. But if you don't take control of your personal brand online, then you are missing out on opportunities and letting others control your narrative. At Vault, we believe that personal branding should be accessible to everyone. That's why we created this presentation to help you through the process of building your personal brand online. While the specific circumstances and goals vary by individual, the overall concepts and process are still relevant to everyone. When it comes to building a personal brand, some people dismiss the process as being too time-consuming or not that important. It's true, you will have to devote time and energy into self-branding properly. But the idea that building a personal brand is not important is just false. And here's a few reasons why. You are being Googled at every stage of your career. Regardless of your age or professional stage, someone is screening you online. What they find can have major implications for your professional and personal well-being. More than half of employers won't hire potential candidates without some sort of online presence today. So don't lose out on an interview over something you can control, like your personal brand. And if you're not looking to get hired and think this doesn't apply to you, think again. Especially if you own your own business or work as a consultant or freelancer. Over half of consumers have chosen to do business with a freelancer or company because of a strong, positive online presence. If you aren't properly managing your online reputation, then you are actively losing out on business. The average person now switches jobs every 2 to 3 years, and 40% of the workforce will freelance by 2020. This means that a strong personal brand is more important than ever. In fact, the more successful you want to be, the more important personal branding becomes. Numbers aside, the most important reason to focus on personal branding is to help yourself. Think of this as building an additional channel for growing your own success. Personal branding is a painless step in working towards your goals. Regardless of your industry or personal status, your personal brand has the power to make or break all kinds of opportunities for advancement. When building your brand starts to feel like a job, remember that it is an essential part of cultivating your career. And keep in mind that the greatest investment of resources, time, and effort will likely come up front. Building and optimizing new profiles, generating content about you and your work, identifying your goals, building a brand strategy. This can feel overwhelming. Distinguishing yourself from your competitors and take control of your personal brand. So far, we have discussed that personal branding is the process of presenting yourself as a marketable job candidate. As you start to go through the stages of creating a personal brand, it's easy to get overwhelmed. But before you get too frustrated, take a deep breath. You don't have to go from an inactive Facebook user to a top influencer on Snapchat or anything like that. This isn't an overnight process, and the objectives and specifics look different for everyone. Think of building your brand and personal branding as an ongoing process that can be broken down into 3 unique steps. Step 1. Building a basic brand. Step 2. Maintaining credibility and an audience. And Step 3. Location opportunities. First, start with building an online presence that reinforces your qualifications. When someone looks you up online, they need to see a strong presence with fresh content in your area of expertise. In order to look the part, you will need to conduct a complete audit of your Google search results. Clean up any content that doesn't fit your desired image. Define yourself and your personal brand. Build an online presence that reflects your brand and expertise and follows a personal branding strategy that sticks to timelines. Before you start building a personal brand, you first need to know where you stand in search results. Google yourself so you know what others see when they look you up. Is an article from a high school play you were in 20 years ago your first result, followed by your aunt's travel blog from before early 1990s? While these aren't terrible results, they aren't relevant and could be hurting you. But don't worry about what you find. While some results may cause a knee-jerk reaction, keep looking. You have to know everything that you're dealing with before you can come up with an effective personal branding strategy. Identify what search results or online content attached to you can damage your reputation. Once you know what kinds of search results are closely attached to your name, you can take steps to remove them. Start with the easy wins. That means posts, images, videos, comments, etc. that you can simply unpublish or delete. Take some time going through your social media profiles and websites. Get rid of anything that doesn't fit with your vision of your personal brand. But it may be time to unpublish your old posts when trying to make partner at a top commercial arbitration firm. Cleanup at times can be tough, even if you're not particularly active on social media. That's because there's always the chance that a post, comment, or picture from years ago could come back and sabotage your personal branding strategy, even if you didn't write or post it. We at Vault found the following types of posts, pictures, comments, etc. to be the most damaging. Unprofessional behavior, unprofessional communication style, drinking or drug use, criminal behavior, polarizing views, particularly when related to politics, religion, race, and gender, sexually explicit content, violence, or bigoted behavior. If you find yourself in the unfortunate position of having damaging search results pop up when someone Googles your name, you're not alone. Even though this is not uncommon, the effects can still take a toll on your professional and personal life. Developing a strong, cohesive personal brand online isn't going to happen overnight. However, over time, you'll find that the process of personal branding provides the added benefit of suppressing negative content and replacing it with a more complete picture of who you are. Most successful people have to deal with negative, irrelevant, or personal search results at some point. Even so, it can feel like an embarrassing failure when it happens. Try to brush that reaction aside and instead focus on what you can control. After you clean up existing web presence, you can really start to think about the personal brand that you are trying to build. Create your own personal brand online by identifying the unique elements that make you who you are. What is your personal brand? What do you want to achieve by putting effort into how you look online? When figuring out how to start your own brand online, ask yourself questions like, who are you? What makes you unique? What is your vision for your personal brand? What is your goal with personal branding? What are your professional goals? Who is your audience? Who can you help? How can you help them? What makes you different? What's your X factor? What makes you reliable, trustworthy? How do you prove that? What's the evidence? In addition to these kinds of questions, start thinking about your accomplishments and gather any supporting materials that can reinforce them. What are your short and long-term goals for your personal branding strategy? Before you start building your personal brand, think about the information that you will want to share about your own success. You've just finished thinking about your goals and what differentiates you from others. Now it's time to hone in on showcasing your assets. You can do this by writing out the accomplishments that make you proud. Also, list moments when others recognized you and your work public. Think of times other people acknowledged your work privately. Whether you're building a personal brand, whether it is job searching or just trying to increase your network and earning potential, take some time to answer the questions above for yourself. Think about what you are projecting and the impression that you want to leave with anyone who searches for you online. Now you can come up with a succinct description of your personal brand and bio, as well as longer versions. You will use these variations of your biography and personal brand statement for your social media profiles. This is how to make your own brand cohesive, but still have unique content available on different platforms. This is appealing to users and search engines alike. It's not enough to just write a blog post every month. Successful personal branding means that the right people will see what you're doing. You want people to find results that are positive and relevant to you when they search your name online. Spend time reflecting on who you are and what you want to highlight through your personal brand. Okay, once you feel confident in that, it's time to start building an online presence that people find easily and leaves a great impression. This involves building a strong foundation of sites and profiles, optimizing them for search engines, and then maintaining content over time. In order to have a strong online presence, you need to build the sites and profiles you want people to find. This involves having a strong combination of personal websites and professional profiles. What does a strong foundation look like? You need to build personal and professional websites. Profiles, because each page of search results typically shows at least 10 results. By taking control of at least 3 properties, you give yourself the chance to curate those key search results on the first page of Google. And what is a personal brand without visibility? When choosing which profiles to build out for your personal branding foundation, we suggest that you select at least 3 to 5 from the following: personal website, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and even Instagram. While Instagram is not as strong for Google search, it is an excellent networking tool and a place to showcase your personality. You also need to optimize the existing sites and social media profiles that you control for search engines and for people looking you up online. To optimize these properties for search engines, use your full name on all profiles and domains. Be consistent with the name you go by. Write in the third person when you can. Fully fill out all profiles. Include your location when possible. Include relevant keywords and metadata and take advantage of hashtags. At this point, you will have completed the first step in the process. Now it's time to use your personal brand to start getting credible placements in relevant third-party publications and channels to get your content syndicated. In addition to ongoing content creation that you publish on sites and profiles that you control, it's critical to show others and search engines that you are relevant and knowledgeable. Publishing on well-respected and high-quality platforms helps establish this kind of credibility. Make sure you are writing strategic content in the right places. As you get used to creating content, blog posts, images, infographics, videos, audio clips or a podcast, presentations, status updates, etc., start to publish it in places where interested parties in your field will see it. Whether that means publishing on LinkedIn or a super niche site devoted to a particular aspect of your field, do it. By finding your audience, you have the opportunity to create and share something directly with the people who will get the most out of it. And don't be afraid to reach out to other well-regarded thought leaders in your industry to see if your work can appear on their sites and profiles as well. As you start your personal branding campaign, try a combination of pitching to third parties and getting your content syndicated. When it comes to guest blogging or creating new content for another platform, consider the following points. Understand the audience and content typically found on that platform. Pick up the top performing content. Replicate aspects of what made that perform so well. Talk to the editor and perform your own search so that you are setting yourself up for a lot of engagement from this article. Hopefully, you're on the same page with the owner of the blog, but take this into your own hands so that your experience as a guest blogger can be held up as a shining example to others and acts as a return ticket to guest post for. Keep track of the engagement that your content receives on different platforms. See if you can recognize any patterns in the type of content that tends to do well on some platforms and not so well on others. Consider what day of the week and what time of day you post content. Use the tools at your disposal to see if you can recreate those successful posts and avoid those that people don't want to engage with. And of course, you need to stay organized. In addition to using different tools to help you analyze the performance of the articles, updates, tweets, comments, videos, photos, etc. that you're posting, consider using social media management tools to make life easier when it comes to sharing content consistently. While organic posting is important, don't be afraid to make your life easier using tools like Hootsuite. Start building a relevant audience of opportunity gatekeepers on key social media platforms and publications. First, identify what your goals are. Who is your target audience? Where are the best places to connect with these people? What kinds of content interests them? Once you identify this, you can then figure out who you need to get in touch with in order to get in front of that audience and accelerate your personal branding campaign. Make your own brand stand out by getting endorsements or even just mentions from respected leaders in your industry. Who really has the power when it comes to exposure and endorsement of your brand? Look to people in your industry who are highly successful and visible on social media, but also look for the best platforms to connect with your audience. Get creative when it comes to asking influencers in your field for help. Not everyone that you know will fit into the bucket of strategic audience members for your personal branding efforts. However, there's a good chance that you already know a lot of people who are interested in your area of expertise that want to help you and see you succeed. When you're first starting out, make sure to connect with these kinds of folks online, since you've already developed a relationship with them in real life. Keep track of these key players because you may have special content, information, or opportunities from them as you build out your personal brand. These are the people who can share your brand with other interested people that they know. This is an important facet of audience building. Connect with inspirational influencers and mentors who are in line with what you're trying to accomplish. Follow them using the personal branding tools at your disposal. An easy place to start is by looking at the people's recommended to you or also searched, depending on the platform, when you look at a profile of a thought leader you admire. You can also do a quick Google search for the top influencers within a given industry. There are plenty of lists online outlining the top people to watch or top people to follow. Do a quick search of top industry influencers on Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., and go from there. Start off by focusing on people in your industry, but don't be afraid to learn more about people from other disciplines who embody something about your personal brand. Whether you end up speaking directly with these influencers or not, you can learn a lot by watching how they or their team execute their own branding strategies. In addition to connecting with people who are succeeding at goals similar to your own, make sure that you also connect with relevant publications, forums, and news sources specific to your industry. Pay attention to the tone and type of content that is published there, and especially those items that tend to have great engagement metrics. Figure that out so that when you pitch a piece there, an editor will take an interest. Make unique, high-quality content to stay top of mind with your audience and to win more professional opportunities. You never know exactly how or when a piece of content that you publish will resonate with a potential business partner, client, or employee, so keep at it. By branding yourself as an active thought leader in your industry, you open the door to tons of possibilities. This includes, but isn't limited to, speaking gigs, jobs, partnerships, blog exchanges, interviews, and mentorships. If you opt out of consistently developing your personal brand and engaging online, you are choosing to limit potential growth in your career. It's true that none of these opportunities presented by your audience will last if you don't have the talent and drive to support the person you illustrate through your personal brand. But if you have the skills, why not open as many doors as possible for yourself? And that starts with personal branding, actively connecting and building your audience. When it comes to developing your personal brand, visibility is a necessity. In addition to the initial steps suggested in Step 3, make a consistent, ongoing plan to ensure personal branding recognition. Again, steps you can take to increase your visibility online by strategically working with your audience include outreach, networking, ongoing engagement, ongoing content creation, link building, and advanced keyword strategy. This process blends best practices and proven strategy when creating a personal brand that showcases your strengths and increases your earning potential. This is a pretty broad topic, but it refers to contacting people, organizations, news sources, etc. that you think would be interested in you or your work. Outreach can range from tweeting at someone to sending a message on LinkedIn, to cold calling, emailing, pitching, and more. Your goal in outreach is to create brand awareness in others. While the term networking usually elicits groans and eye rolls, it doesn't have to. When done well, networking is about making a sincere connection with another person that can then develop into a mutually beneficial relationship. It's as simple as that. Personal branding tactics don't always have to scale to be powerful. You already have a network. So when it comes to growing your audience and creating personal brand awareness, think about people that you'd like to reconnect with as well as new people to bring into your orbit. Really listen to what they're up to and check in with them regularly. Avoid using people when networking. Instead, focus on finding good, hard-working people that you respect who may have some overlap in your industry or desired profession. While networking meetups and conferences exist, it doesn't have to be so formal if that's not your style. Just find events in real life or online relevant to your industry and talk to people. Some events could include talks from a leader in your field, online forum and interest groups on social media. Remember, networking doesn't have to happen in formal settings. It can start in real life or online, but engaging on social media is the easiest way to nurture those relationships actively and passively. These efforts will always help you when it comes to personal branding. Your brand should nurture your network and vice versa. Publishing high-quality content isn't enough. In order to keep your existing audience interested and attract more people to your brand, you have to regularly engage on these platforms. Respond as best as you can to the comments, questions, and content directed at you from your audience. If you don't acknowledge the different ways that people are choosing to interact with you online, then your brand may come off as out of touch and inaccessible. While you don't have to craft long responses to every single person who comments on your Facebook page, respond when you can. And if you notice general trends in questions and posts, acknowledge that and respond publicly. In addition to engaging directly with your growing audience, publicly engage with people and news sources that are prominent in your industry. From commenting on articles to retweeting people you admire, it's important to demonstrate that you are active in the conversation that's happening in your industry. When it comes to developing a personal brand, regularly updating your profiles and website or websites with fresh content is a must. Consistent content creation positively impacts 3 channels of your overall personal branding strategy. Search engine optimization from an SEO perspective. High-quality content that people engage with shows search engines that your property and that particular video, blog post, photo, etc. is valuable. Over time, this translates to an increase in authority, which mimics the authority you are aiming to grow with personal branding. Sites that search engines view as high authority outrank their competition. That means that when people look you up online, they're more likely to click on that link as opposed to those ranking below it. When people find this profile or piece of content, not only are they exposed to engaging information, but they see your positive personal brand and may increase your audience numbers. Before we take questions for the live attendees, I would like to leave you all with one final thought. We have discussed the steps to what your personal brand, how to build your brand, but most importantly, how to make sure the right people find it. Do not forget that in today's competitive job market, a strong personal brand is no longer a nice to have, but a must have. The time to get started with personal branding is now. Keep